Chair, I would like to introduce Mr. Michael Sanderson.
Welcome, Mr. Sanderson.
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment first before my two questions, if I could.
I think it's two questions or a comment. I'm happy to welcome you back, but please feel free to choose which two of those three you would like to start with.
I'll do the questions then. In the introduction, there was a comment there that Australia isn't immune to inflation. This question relates to central bank groupthink and the cash rate. With one exception, the groupthink of the Western consensus central bank claims in order to control largely cost-push inflation, they need to raise interest rates. The exception is major G7 country, Japan, or economy, Japan, that has an ageing population, less natural capital, and is exposed to the same global economic conditions. Japan has maintained a cash rate of minus 0.1%. It has lower inflation, 3.2 currently, no currency crisis, and its citizens are better off as a result of federal fiscal policy initiatives. My two requests are, would CBA, in the interest of its customers and its shareholders, request that the Australian Bankers Association, very powerful in Canberra, lobby the federal government to be more fiscally proactive like Japan? And will Mr. Common undertake, whilst on one of his overseas jaunts with Albo, undertake to point out that his government, fiscal ineptness and the unnecessary damage they are inflicting on CBA customers, shareholders and Australia generally?
Thank you, Mr. Sanderson. That was very thoughtful. Firstly, I'll just reiterate our respect for the Reserve Bank and the skill that it needs to demonstrate in steering Australia through volatile periods in the global economy. In comparing any country, we have to look at the level of unemployment, the level of economic activity, the level of inflation, the level of immigration, the level of capital investment, commodity prices, productivity. There are so many factors that need to be taken into account, and the Reserve Bank has to do that. The Commonwealth Bank actively works for our customers to ensure that the data and information that we see about the economy is actually provided to policymakers in a transparent and informative manner. I think our policymakers look to CBA, but to many institutions across Australia, as well as inside government, to get that information. The benefits of careful and deliberative monetary policy, taking all of those factors into account, have demonstrated that when we get it right, Australia can sustain extended periods of economic growth. But I think by reference to your comment, many people do see higher interest rates as affecting them at the moment, and they're having to make decisions. We will engage with government. I'm not quite sure I agree with the characterisation of the relationships, but we will engage with government where we feel that the policy settings aren't right. And there are areas of policy, such in payments, that we actually do push pretty hard. But I think the Reserve Bank structure in Australia, and from time to time it is reviewed by government, is really important. It is actually filled with very capable people, and they take factors into account that are both Australia-specific, but do look also to what's going on in global economies. I think that perhaps encapsulates both of your questions.